What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to World War II enemies reunited in D-Day anniversary. This video is about a German veteran and a British veteran from World War II that are meeting for the first time. I wanted to watch this video because I'm really curious, how do these two men that would be considered enemies in their youth, how do they view each other today, nearly 80 years later? What does this conversation look like, and what kind of emotions may come up during this meeting? You know, I think it's also worth mentioning, guys, that meetings like this and conversations like this between veterans from opposing sides of World War II, there's only so many of these conversations that could be had because the time left that we could have these conversations is very limited. I mean, the youngest veterans from World War II have to be, I don't know, mid-90s, I think late 90s actually at this point. And so a decade from now, I don't know if there will be any surviving veterans from World War II left. So this is the type of conversation, you know, when I see the chance to check this out, this is definitely something I find interesting. So anyways, guys, don't really know what to expect here, but I think this should be very, very interesting. So let's just go ahead and check out World War II enemies reunited in D-Day anniversary.
This is the tale of two soldiers who have never met and who were supposed to kill each other 75 years ago on this beach. One fighting for Führer and fatherland, Paul Goltz, aged 18 on D-Day. The other fighting for king and country, Harry Reid, barely a year older. You might know him by now. Harry Reid, 95 years old. Age didn't prevent him from jumping out of a plane yesterday,
Wow.
as he did 75 years ago in the first hours of the invasion. He spent most of his life working for the Salvation Army. Forgiveness was virtually written into his contract, and yet when we spoke to him recently about meeting Paul, the German soldier, he was cautious.
I hope I can do stuff like that when I'm in my 90s. That's crazy. That's awesome.
I'm not sure what I'm going to say to him. I'm going to have to think about it. But I do know this. I will accept him. I will accept him. How can I be at odds with somebody? I can't, can I? I can't. It's just not on. And whatever words are needing, they will come. They will come.
That's a good
And then
spirit.
Paul Goltz, 94. He spent yesterday at the German War Cemetery in Normandy, a somber place of black stone crosses, the resting place of the vanquished. I spoke to him on the beach, close to where he surrendered his gun, his freedom and his war to an American tank crew.
And the soldiers, 4 soldiers also came and looked in these fields, in these pastures, and saw us. Hey boys, come on, let's go, the war's over for you. That's what they shouted.
What they said. They shouted, yeah.
The Schneider, he wanted to shoot with his pistol on this
Your fellow
town.
soldier. He wants to shoot them with his pistol. Yeah.
Yeah, with his pistol.
What did you
And
say
the
to
lieutenant said to him, throw the pistol away. You are crazy.
Yeah.
You can't do with a pistol a tank.
The war was indeed over for Paul, not for his family. His village in eastern Germany became part of Poland. His father, a farmer, was killed by Russian soldiers, his sister raped. But defeat gave Paul, like much of Germany, a new lease of life. He became a prisoner of war in Scotland and America, learned English and joined the diplomatic service. Was he afraid on D-Day?
Nein, mit 18 Jahren es war eine neue Situation für mich.
Positiv oder negativ?
Jetzt beginnt es endlich, dass wir das hinter uns bringen. I saw these 1,000 ships, and I thought.
You knew it was over.
Then I should better make peace with America and England, and only keep the Russians away from Berlin, because my family was near in the east of Pomerania. At first, they came the Russian there.
You were much more afraid of the Russians
Yeah.
than of the Americans and the
That's
British.
what I thought.
It was time for Paul and Harry to meet on neutral ground in the Café de la Digue in Kabul.
And I'm so glad to see you and to hold your hand and say, bless you, we are partners. Once we were on a different side, but we are partners together in the rebuilding of the world.
That's why I find very fine.
That's right.
Yes,
and,
that's right.
And I'm just so glad to see you.
We understand each other.
When you were here and you were fighting for survival, the idea that one day, 75 years later, let alone jumping out of a plane, you would be sitting here with a German
There's no way.
former soldier who was on the other side.
There's no way you would have
having
thought
this
that.
conversation.
Not at that time, although my common sense told me that there were people very peacefully minded and their voices so often were silenced.
What would your advice be to young people? Dein Rat für junge Leute?
Für die jungen Leute, look at the cemeteries where the people died for us. Because we have the peace for 75 years old. Peace, keep the peace, get with you.
And
now
you.
we are friends.
We are more than that. We are more than that. We are brothers.
I love that, man.
Harry Reid and Paul Golds.
Oh, man.
Brothers.
I love that so much, guys. Anybody knows me well knows I love unity. I love when people can put aside their former differences, which, you know, this many years later, I thought they would definitely be able to do that, which they obviously easily did. And that's just beautiful, you know. I love seeing people to come together, man. It's amazing.
And friends. Well, I'm joined now by two more men who landed here in Normandy, Bill Gladden and Dickie Forrester. Thanks very much to both of you for coming on the programme. You saw the film that we just aired of the German veteran and the British veteran meeting. What did you think when you saw that, Bill?
Well, I was rather impressed. It's the first time I've seen a ex-German soldier and a British soldier meeting. I've never seen that before.
You've never met any German soldiers yourself?
No, none whatsoever.
What about you, Dickie?
Well, I always used to see one called Willie that used to go to Pegasus Bridge every year, and they sort of adopted him until he died. But he's been dead some time now, but the parents sort of talked to him like a mascot.
Right.
But I'll never let him inside.
She's the woman who owns the cafe, right?
No, Germans are not allowed inside the cafe.
We had her on the programme yesterday, yes.
If Germans go in, they have to go in the back.
She's quite a formidable grande dame, is
She's
Arlette?
a wonderful lady. I gave her flowers yesterday, and she's a nice lady.
So, Bill, when you came over, you came by glider,
Yeah.
and you were the first glider to ever take a tank. Explain that to us. I mean, the idea of a glider coming into Normandy is just astonishing.
Well, it's just that I was in the Armoured Corps where we had the Valentines, and then I went with Hobart. I'm on the East Coast of Orphaness. I was one of his dispatch riders. And then they asked the volunteers for the Airborne Armoured Corps, so I went with them. And we were at Lark Hill where we did our training, and then we were taken to Turret Ruston in Dorset, and fortnight before D-Day, we put barbed wire out to stop people getting in, stop us going out, because we weren't allowed out.
Because there was a big secret, wasn't it,
Yes,
using these gliders?
yes. And they had briefed us as well, you see.
And they used the gliders so that the Germans couldn't hear them in the middle of the night as they came across.
Yeah, we came in D-Day afternoon,
Right.
because 22nd Independent Parachute Battalion, they went in first to blow the poles out the field. There was all poles in the field. But little did they know, our glider was that big, we would have missed the poles.
Right.
But the horses, it would have taken the wings off.
And there was a tank on the glider.
Yeah, we had a tank and 6 motorbikes, 350 matches. I was on the bikes, actually.
And you were injured soon after you landed, right? Or?
Yeah, I landed on the 6th. I was wounded on the 18th.
Right.
And
What happened?
well, we'd been out on because we did all the recce work for 6th Airborne Division, and we'd been out this particular day, I come back to the orchard at Ronville, and I was just about to grew up tipping out some water, and then there was a bang, and I was on my back.
Right.
And I didn't know then, but I was told afterwards that a tiger had come into our orchard and blasted us. So I don't know whether it's his 88 or his machine gun that got me. But it took all the fun of my ankle away. I just see Achilles on my foot.
Dickie, what do you remember most about those first few days of the invasion?
Well, first of all, I was frightened. And secondly, I was seasick. I was so
That's
sick.
not a good combination, is it?
I thought I was dead.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I'm just sitting there thinking, like, you know, going back nearly 80 years ago and thinking, you know, these were a bunch of 18, 19-year-old kids, man. You know, I think a lot of times when we think of, you know, World War I, World War II, it's hard to remember or even fathom that these were, you know, really a bunch of kids and most of them, you know, and it's just, I can't imagine the emotions that those kids were going through and just how scared a lot of them were. And, you know, on both sides, honestly, of any war, you know, the kids just think they're fighting for, you know, what's right, but obviously one side is ultimately right. But I just can't, it's hard to imagine. It really is. And try to put yourself into that position and just think of how that would affect you for the rest of your life. This relatively short period of time is so emotional, and it happened at such a, you know, as you're a kid, 18, 19-year-old, you're a kid, you know, that it literally transforms the rest of your life. This very short window of time in your life, it transforms your entire life from that moment on. You see people that you knew, friends that you had die, and it just, I don't know, man. It's just I can only imagine how tough that was for these guys.
Oh, it's a terrible feeling, seasickness. So I never recovered for about 2 days. I felt very guilty about it.
And just describe that moment when you came off the boat and you had to rush onto the beach.
Well, I didn't have to do that because I was laying there in a shocking state.
Oh, really?
And the sergeant pulled me out and left me there, and a medical orderly came on and done it. And he said to this captain, he said, this man's not very good, he might be dying. He said, you're damn fool, he's got seasickness.
And, you know, this has been such a poignant occasion for so many people. I mean, for you, obviously, who were here, but also for those who weren't here and try to imagine. What did today mean to you, perhaps compared to some of the other anniversaries you've been attending?
It's the same as every one I've ever done.
Really?
I'll tell you what, my old chairman, Arthur Middleton, God bless him, was Black Watch. And he said, when you go away with it, we used to go away, they'll come here every year for long. I've been coming here over 30 years. He said, you must wear your medals.
You've got a lot of them.
Well, that's window dressing. You must wear your medals because the people who lie underneath you that you remember never had a chance to wear them, and they were entitled to. And
That's
also
true.
you can explain to the people.
That makes a lot of sense.
They're not all French. They come from Holland. They come from America. Explain why you're there. They see, oh, this man was here, or he was something to do with it. So they fit in together. And that's my opinion. And every time I come back, it's a joy.
What do you think people should remember most from this occasion? What do you want young people especially to take away from
Don't go to war because it doesn't get you anywhere. It's just an absolute waste of time.
And victory is nice, but it's very, very dear. There are lots of youngsters laying out there in the cemetery. We are,
So true, man.
90s and 20s, killed and maimed. We don't want that to happen again.
You lost friends, both of you, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, my dearest friends I've lost have died since the war, which I miss very much.
Yeah.
I've got two friends that lay in Ronville Cemetery. I've visited yesterday, and I normally try to find them. And I helped carry them over. They were both killed. 3 days later, they were carrying me over. So
Right. Okay.
that was it.
both of you. Thank you very much indeed, Bill Gladden, Dickie Forrester. Thank you so much for coming in. It's been really wonderful talking to you.
Wow, guys, that was a really beautiful moment. Not only with the German and the British veteran, but also with these two. And I totally agree with what they said here at the end. I mean, war, man, is such a waste of life. And it's so a shame that we can't just all get along on this planet. But I wish we could. But we pretty much know, well, a war's still going on right now. It just never seems to end. It's just always in a different part of the world. And innocent soldiers are going to die in these wars, but you can't forget about all the civilians, you know, moms and kids. And it's just a shame, man, what war does. But these men right here, you know, that fight for their country, fight for the world, you know, they deserve the utmost respect. And I definitely want to check out some more interviews with some men from World War II, you know, different countries, you know. I enjoy hearing the British guys. I'd like to hear some Americans. I'd like to see you know, I'd like to see some interviews with some German veterans from World War II. It's just, you know, I'm sure they all have very interesting perspectives. And it's honestly, like I was saying at the beginning of this video, it's very limited time that we have left to actually, you know, hear what these men went through. It's just something that I think very few of us today can even comprehend emotionally what they went through. We can logically hear it. We can logically kind of understand it, you know, read the book, so to speak. But, you know, it's one of those things that until you live something like that, you just cannot really fully emotionally comprehend just how just, you know, emotionally taxing that situation was for these young men at the time. And but yeah, guys, this was I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.